This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with Violent Gentlemen. We've nailed down the butcher, Owen Duffy. How are you, mate?
Not bad, boss. Not bad. We finally got in contact, anyway.
We
Just took a
definitely did
couple of
it.
days.
It's taken us a few days, I guess. Obviously, you've a very busy schedule, sort of as you have on a normal basis. You're obviously a personal trainer. Um,
Yeah,
so, so obviously, you have a smile on your face. You're back in the ring, obviously, after what, a year and 11 months out of the ring as well. So
yeah.
it's not the fact that you're sort of going to be on YouTube with an interview and everything else. It's more the fact that I'm back. I'm back in the ring and I'm fighting again. I'm sure it's a good relief. Obviously, what a year and 11 months out of the ring. It's you know, who would have probably ever thought after your sixth pro fight, your seventh pro fight, it'd be COVID, Alicante. You
I
probably
know.
never have dreamt it.
No, no. like, look, no, definitely after I lost that last fight to Eddie Treacy, I knew I had a lot to learn. I knew I had to address a lot of things. Like, I was putting a lot of things on the back burner, and especially for that fight, I didn't have a full time coach, and that was no one else's fault but my own for
Mm,
taking that fight. And you know, one thing I learned is if you keep training a bad habit over and over and over again, you can't expect yourself to land up to a fight night and execute a perfect plan. Like especially after that fight, looking back in the fight, I was like, footwork always, well, it would have been in my amateur days anyway, would have been one of my best attributes. Like looking back on that fight, it was a perfect game plan by Eddie. Like me jabbing, dropping the hand, jabbing, dropping the hand. Like I was only looking for the counter left hook from Eddie, But look, after that fight, then COVID came in. I knew I needed to spend a lot of time on myself to work on the basics. But I also knew that like this crack of taking fights on without a full time coach, like I'm doing myself no favors, and my career's going to end pretty soon if I don't sort it out.
mhm.
So like with the COVID, the long stay, and then obviously my mum getting sick and decided to move home full time. I ended up teaming back up with my old amateur boxing coach Frick,
Hmm.
and like I was saying there about the bad habits, like I think it was 2 months we spent literally just working on the basics of a jab and a backhand while moving your head, while bringing the hand back to your face. Like I had spent so much time training a bad habit. It was actually nuts how long it took me to undo the bad habits. But
I'm just, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking there. Sorry, just you're thinking there, and obviously you're saying go back to basics. I'm thinking of Karate Kid. Obviously the thing where Daniel LaRusso obviously wanted to be a boxer and sorry, a
yeah,
boxer to learn karate, and Mr. Miyagi kicking and wash the car and paint the fence, and he's going, "Teach me karate, teach me karate." Did it feel
yeah.
sort of when you go back to basics for 2 months? Did you sort of going, "Frig, just let me fight. Let me spar, let me train."
Yeah, like I always had a good relationship with Frick, so I think that's very important that you have full trust and belief in your coach. And it like you said, it was so frustrating. Like I didn't get to spar or nothing for fucking like a month or two.
Mhm.
It was literally just working on the basics. Like it got to the point where like I have a picture of my phone now. I'm not showing you, but Frick, we be there doing shadow boxing, and Frick be there telling me what to do. And I kept dropping my hands. Like you go through the motion, and next thing the hands be down here. And it got to the point where like I had annoyed Frick so much about it with the hands down that he went, "You got tape." He's like, "Hold on a second now, hold on a second. I swear you go." And he says, "I'm good off here now. You got tape." And you put your hand there. He just taped it around my face. I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, keep your hands up." Oh, so funny. But like, no, look, bit of a laugh, bit of fun. But no, training has been going really well. I've been with Frick now since. I've been with Frick now. Well over about 6, 7 months now, anyway. Um, and yeah, I can definitely say that my footwork and stuff has come on leaps and bounds, absolute leaps and bounds. I feel like I'm in a really good place mentally and physically. Um, Training's going really well. Good relationship with Frick. Delighted to team up with the boys in Boxing Iron Promotions, Stephen Sharp and Leonard and the boys. Got to really get to know them over in Alicante. Really sound lads. Can fully trust them. And it's kind of nice in a way that I've got a coach, a full-time coach, and I've got a full-time manager that I'm not trying to do everything myself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm not stressing about the fight, what fight will I take, what weight will I do. Like I can just focus on my boxing now, you know. So it's exciting.
Yes, now
Um,
it's sort of like dotting the I's and crossing the T's, sort of getting everybody in
yeah,
place so that it makes your job as a boxer,
yeah,
that much easier. Obviously, all you have to do is focus on training and focus on the fight.
yeah.
Everybody else take care of the rest. I guess it's
Mm,
sometimes it's an easy mistake people can make it. They want to do everything themselves, and then it going, why am I burning out? Why am I,
mm.
why do I not want to train? Why do I want to eat balanced food? Things like that.
Well, that was my fault. I was way too eager, and I'm definitely stubborn. Like I was definitely like stubborn in the fact that I thought that like you know like discipline and training, there's no issue with me at all. Like if someone said to me, Owen, for where you want to go, you need to train twice a day. I'll train 3 times a day. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is no issue at all when it comes to training, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, all with good habits, all that. I love all that stuff, and I love studying it, and I've no problem executing it. But like I was saying to you before this interview, like when I was getting ready for the Eddie Treacy fight, like when you're punching the bag doesn't punch you back. So I learned this the hard way. That like when I was throwing the jab at the bag, I was going through the motion and I was just throwing the jab, wasn't moving my head. But then sometimes I might just leave the jab there, or sometimes when I threw the jab, or sometimes all the time, I throw the jab and I drop the hand. So literally, some people said to me, "Oh, that shot Eddie Tracy hit you with was just a lucky shot," and like the more I look back at it now, I was like, no, it was just a well timed play shot. Like literally so I'm there throwing the jab, dropping the hand every time. It was only a matter of time that Eddie did it to a T, slit the jab and just caught me with a counter left hook and just put me straight down. It was a brilliant shot.
Mm-hmm.
But like after that fight, watching stuff a lot, I was like, listen, I'm going nowhere in boxing if I keep going the way I'm going. I goes, if anything, like my footwork's getting worse, my boxing's getting worse. Um, I've created so many bad habits that I need to readdress, and I need someone to tell me what I'm doing wrong. So I need to get myself a coach. So like I really think COVID was a really good thing for me because I got to spend so much time. I literally spent so much time because I had free time to spend more time with boxing, but it allowed me then to come home, team up with Frick, get a full time coach, training with Frick. Then thanks to Frick got me in contact with Stephen Sharp and the boys boxing and promotions. Got to meet them then, and literally they got me a fight in Alicante straight away.
Yep, it's
Like
worked out
absolutely
perfectly.
blessed. So
Definitely has. So, as I sort of like to do, everybody sort of when I first bring them on, it's sort of
yeah,
rolling back from the sort of start. So, what age did you
like
sort of start out in boxing and why?
yeah. It's a funny little story, but I was 17. Um, didn't even know there was boxing locally to me, but I went to an all boys school, and across the road from me was kind of like a mixed school.
Mm,
And I heard this white collar show was going on. Frick was actually in charge of it. He was doing a fundraiser for the local sports centre in the town.
mm-hmm,
And next thing, I got news that there was a couple of lads in the school across the road that I didn't really get on with, and I was always having a bit of trouble with them anyway. But anyways, I heard a couple of them were doing this show, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go home and ask your mom now, can I do this show? So I landed over at 17. I was like, you know what, mom, and I'm big, be a big community man. I'm big into giving back and stuff. So
mm-hmm,
when I heard it's for charity as well, I was like, oh, I definitely have to do this. So I'll come at mom with the whole, it's all for charity, Bob. So I landed home and I was, mom, there's this charity show on. Do you mind if I do it? And she goes, what is that? So I was boxing. And next thing she turned around, she goes, do you know, like, I never got to meet my mom's brother. But she goes, do you know my brother Michael was a boxer? And I was like, no way. And then, like, there's boxing on my dad's side as well. So I was like, Jesus, boxing both sides of the family. I must be all right at the dead. So I said, I should be all right. So I teamed up, did the 6 weeks of training, got my little digs at the lads. Um, let's just say I was happy out. And I just fell in love with it ever since. Like, the minute I started, I was like, this is what I've always wanted. This is what I should have always done,
mm-hmm,
and I just never stopped from there. I went. I won my first Ulster then, literally that year when I
Mm.
started boxing. Went to the All Irelands, lost in the All Ireland semi-finals. Came back then the following year, won the All Irelands. Went then that summer to the Ringside World Championships in America, and I broke my hand, my right. I broke my right hand in the first fight. So every day you have a fight, you win your fight, you win the next morning, you fight the next day, you win the next morning, you fight the next day. So I ended up having 4 or 5 fights. I won them all. Pure stubbornness got me through that.
Mm.
That and ibuprofen, double dose on it, and I ended up winning that. And then I was home for a while, and then I think it could have been another year. Then I won the Celtic Box Cup. So yeah, that's how my
It's like
boxing started.
it's when you sort of say things happen sometimes for a reason. The charity thing came about. You're a community person, and sort of want I want to points ahead of these guys without
Yeah.
getting in trouble. What way better day to do it for charity? And it's funny how it then works out where you then, because of doing that, you find out boxing as a family. You click,
Yeah,
you love it, and the rest
yeah.
history.
Because I never asked the question about boxing. Like I would have always watched like Sergio Martinez would have been one of my favorite fighters, and like who doesn't love Mike Tyson, and watching documentaries on Floyd Mayweather like all on YouTube. Like I always had an interest in boxing, but I didn't even. I thought like rugby was something I always wanted to try as well, but there was no
Mm.
rugby teams local to me, so it was something I never even asked of. Like I didn't even ask um my mom to find out about the boxing with my brothers. I mean, the boxing with my brother. Like so, if anything, I owe the lads a thank you for
Mm.
being for being my enemy back in school.
And obviously, with obviously boxing the Celtic Box Cup, it seems to be, and I guess probably sometimes people don't touch on it. I would sort of class it as being like the World Boxing Series. Is it when people obviously are getting ready to go in the pro scene, you sort of go to the Celtic Box Cup, like
Yeah,
Davy Oliver Joyce, Gary Cully, yourself. There's
yeah.
an endless amount of names that have fallen on it, and then that's been their sort of transition into pro boxing. Was that
Yeah.
where you were sort of lured to pro boxing? Was from that?
No, funny enough, well, like after Celtic Box Cup, I actually broke my other hand in the semi final, and I remember getting you have to get that medical done, where they squeeze your hands and all.
Hmm.
So I broke, I was in the semi finals, and it was literally the very first shot. I remember Frick was telling me the fellow out boxing, really skinny legs, but he has very, very big upper body. He was all upper body, and he was all power shots. So
Hmm.
I remember getting ready for the semi final. Frick was like, "Look, on this fella's just going to come with a big bang of a 1-2." And he says, and I says, "Why? What's the plan then?" He goes, "I want you to put your guard up, and I want you to block the first 1-2." I was like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "I want you to take the 1-2, but I want you to meet him and break the 1-2. So let him think that like you're just going to keep blocking his shots. So do it for the first one. So break the 1-2, and then when he goes to do it again, he's going to try and knock you out with the backhand, because this is what he was doing the whole way up to the thing."
Hmm.
And he goes, let him throw the jab. The minute he throws the jab, I want you to slip out the backhand and come over with your counter left hand. So literally, the fight. I think the fight only ended up lasting about 20 seconds. I blocked the 1-2, and I was like, "Jeez, I am not getting hit with this backhand," because I could feel the power straight away. So
Hmm.
next thing, man drew the jab, and sure, obviously I felt his power. I was like, "No way is he hit me with that backhand." So I slipped it. I come over the top of the left hand, caught him straight in the head, and that was it. The fight was over. But the minute I hit him, I was like, "Oh, I'm after breaking my hand." My hand was just completely swollen.
Hmm.
So next thing, anyways, um, went to bed that night in a rented room that we were staying in, and I woke up screaming during the night for the one time. I don't know, but I ended up turning around the bed and I whacked my hand off the side locker. I woke up screaming. I said, "Yeah, that hand is definitely broke." So next thing I knew, is Frick goes, "Look, go into the medics and just bluff it. Like try your best to just like say it's fine." So they always grab your hands and they squeeze it. Be like, "Oh, how you feeling?" And I just said, she grabbed my hand, she goes, "Show me your hands." And I was just like, "Oh, here we go." So she goes, "Shot squeeze." She goes, "How do you feel?" I says, "Yeah, I'm good, I'm good. How are you feeling?" And then she's like, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." So next thing, I end up having to fight the whole fight with just the one hand. I end up winning, thank God. Went well, but um, sorry, after that, then I took a break. I ended up taking a break from box for a while. I was in college studying personal training and fitness instructor. And then when I got that qualification, I ended up getting a job in Dublin. So there was a lot going on. I ended up taking a break out of boxing for like a year, maybe a year and a bit more. Then I had obviously asked Frick, where do I train, or where would he recommend me to train? So I joined Crumlin with Phil Sutcliffe,
Hmm.
and I did amateur boxing there for a while. So then I end up, it came to a point then that I was like, you know what, I'm kind of ready to start traveling a bit. So I went to move over to, the boxing wasn't going as well as I wanted it to. And I was starting to think, like, is this meant to be for me or not, you know?
Hmm.
So I was kind of in that place where, like, do I want to continue or do I want to not? So I said I'd take a break for a while. I went over to my dad in England for a couple of months to work with him in the building. And next thing, like, you know, my dad and my sisters and my whole family are all like, Owen loves the boxing. They know how much it means to me. And like, they secretly, they knew what I was at. So I was taking a break for a couple of months to see, is this the right thing I want to do, you know?
Hmm.
And like, dad was always like secretly trying to keep it going. So he went off and he bought 2 tickets to Katie Taylor's world title defense fight in York Hall.
Hmm.
And I was like, so I landed to work on a Friday. He goes, here we go, kid. We're having a half day today. We're going to York Hall to watch this fight. And I was like, no way. I was like, brilliant. I'm actually going to watch Katie Taylor live for a world title fight. So I landed over to this world, over to York Hall, met up, went with dad. And next thing, out of nowhere, met Tony Davitt. Like, I would have went with Tony Davitt when I was with Crumlin one time during the summer to an English show.
Hmm.
And Tony Davitt got to see me box, and he was always asking me, did I ever think about going pro? And I was like, yeah, yeah, obviously in the future, like sometime then in the future, like I want to spend a bit more time in the amateurs, like. And he was saying that my style would really suit the pros. So that was years ago. Then next thing, obviously, we bumped into Tony Davitt at York Hall, got chatting to him. He was asking about me boxing, and I said that I was taking a break for a while. He's like, no, you're not taking no break. No, you're coming home. You're coming home. I'm taking you on. You're coming into the pro game. And I was like, no way. I was like, would you take me on? He's like, 100%. You're coming home. You're not quitting the boxing. You're not quitting the boxing. And sure, my dad was over the moon that he said that. You know, and like, obviously for me, it was a dream come true as well. But like,
Yeah.
I was literally only in England like 2 months and I got offered a pro contract. I was like, this is absolutely amazing. Like, big believer in everything happens for a reason. So, like, maybe it
Hmm.
was meant to have that little moment, go over to my dad. My dad lands in, dad gets me tickets to the fight thing. And then Tony Dow was like, nope, you're coming home, kid. You're coming home. You're going to fight. I was like, yes, boss. Yes, boss. I'll do what I'm told.
and and
So, yeah, that's
obviously,
how it all started.
like Tony Davitt's obviously, as a legend of the sport, and I
Yeah,
guess when he tells you you're doing something, you're doing it, and that's it.
yeah. He's proper old school, he is, yeah.
He definitely has. He's probably like we would obviously have in Belfast with John Breen as well.
Yeah,
Obviously, John Breen obviously hasn't been training fighters recently because of COVID and things like
okay.
that. He'd still the super stairs.
Yeah.
When you're training, when you're in the gym training, he would have the gym at like 60-degree heat, so that you're if it wasn't the training being trained hard, the heat was killing
Yeah.
you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's what Freak had me doing, was training in 29, 31 degrees heated chamber for sparring sessions in preparation for Spain.
mm,
And I definitely think that played a part because, like, your body's used to, it's obviously not the same kind of heat that's in Spain, but it's just getting the body used, it's getting the nervous system not to freak out when the heat hits me, you know?
mm.
So it definitely helped me during the fight in Spain. But yeah, it's not enjoyable.
and like whenever you first signed over, you the first 6 fights in 16 months, so
Yeah,
when obviously you're thinking of going pro and everything else, to get so many fights in that length of time, you were signed under Connor
Conor
Slater
Stratton,
and Kaz Evans in time.
Kaz,
How did
yeah,
that
yeah,
sort of come about then? Was that sort of set up where you going pro?
yeah. So when I went pro, I actually got a fight in the Boxing Iron Promotions card with Tony Davis set that up for me, and then afterwards, um, Ray Moylette was with the boys, and
Mm,
I was in Celtic Warrior at the time, and Ray Moylett was the one that put the word in for me with the boys sorry, no, Ray Moylett and Stevie Collins put the word in for me with the lads with Kaz Evans and that, and they set me up with them. So they then went and got me a fight. And you look, in fairness to the boys, they're very good at matchmaking and getting fights. Like, I asked for the fights, they got me the fights. You know, as the career started off, a lot of things happened very fast. You know, like, definitely think that I went too quick, too soon. Like, you know, when the highlights on you, you can definitely get lost in it. And I definitely did. I definitely did, because although I deep down knew that my boxing ability was getting worse, like my footwork, the basics, like, I didn't have a full time coach after a while, and I was like, you know, because I'm so stubborn as well, probably doesn't help. But like I was saying before, if you ask me to train twice a day, I'll train 3 times a day. But what I found out the hard way is, if you train the wrong thing, you can't ask yourself to do the right thing in the fight. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
the best thing to do is, when you train, if you're not doing it 100%, what's the point of doing it at fight speed? Break it down, right down to doing it through the motion, really slow, the basics, until you get the motion right, and then bring it up. So always train with the intentions of never doing the form and technique wrong, ever. But, like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you're human. You're
Yep.
always going to make a mistake. But have the intentions that you're planning never making that ever wrong. So the chances of that happening then when you go to fight, you're training the subconscious mind and body to where the body knows the mind better than, or the body knows itself better than the mind.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do. So, like, literally, after the last fight, I was like, look, my career is going absolutely nowhere if I don't find myself a full time coach and get this stuff sorted, you know. So, um, look, big believer in everything happens for a reason. If that didn't happen and I won that fight, I definitely would have jumped again, and I probably would have went for another fight that I wasn't ready for, and it would have been just a bigger fall. So I'm happy that it happened so earlier on in my career, and then, you know, like, I fully believe that COVID happened at the right time for me, because it gave me that year and a half to really work on what I needed to work on, but
Mm-hmm.
not just that, to not be taking on everything myself, like trying to be my own manager, trying to be my own promoter, trying to, like, make the judgments for, like, is this the right fight for me or not. So, like, now I'm in the position, and I'm entirely blessed with it, that I've got Frick that I fully trust, a full time coach, and I will do whatever he says to train. Then he's got my best interest with, alongside the boys of Boxing and Promotion, Stephen Sharp and Leonard Gunning. Really got to know the lads in Alicante, and, like, I couldn't have asked for a better crew of lads. Joe, I can definitely feel like I can trust them. Now, along, like, Frick gets on with them, so it's good that the whole circle get on with each other. So there's
Mm-hmm.
no stress of worrying that there's a bit of tension now. So I know that I can totally leave the fights up to Frick and the boys Boxing and Promotions to decide for me. So my controllable, instead of being the controllable of everything, my controllable is to improve my boxing ability and maintain my fitness. Do you know?
Yep. The thing that matters the most to you.
Yeah.
Always like to know where nicknames and stuff come from. Where did the butcher come from?
Now I'm going to be pulling this because I'm not going to say it right, right? But my dad told me whenever I was young, right, and I was big into playing football, I'd be out walking around the town and people would be like, "Ah, oh, only the butcher, oh, only the butcher." And I was like, "Why is people calling me the butcher? Like, there's no one in our house to butcher. There's
Mm-hmm.
no one a butcher in our house." So I remember I used to come over and be like, all the out lads in the town be calling me the butcher. And I was like, "What's this about?" So I landed home and Dad said that I could have been my granddad was only the butcher, and he owned a butcher in the town, and he was meant to have a savage left hook and a left hand. Now I think I'm definitely going to mess up this story, but um, supposedly there was a horse stood on his foot one day, and he was only 5'5" or 5'6",
Mm-hmm.
and he hit a left hook, and suppose he killed his stone dead, and everyone just called him only the butcher with the left hand. So whenever I did that white collar show and I was left handed southpaw, everyone in the town was like, "Oh, he has to be called the butcher. Has to be called the butcher." So that's where everyone started calling me the butcher, and I didn't even know. I think till I was 18 or 19 why
Mhm.
I was called the butcher, like But it's not. It's a very raw name now. It's not the most attractive name to be calling yourself, but I think it's quite a meaningful, funny story,
Yeah,
like
it
So
has a meaning sometimes rather when you're making your
yeah,
pro debut and you don't have a like a nickname sort of as to be called or and somebody else making it up for you, whereas there's meaning behind it. It's
yeah, yeah,
been
yeah,
passed down the generation sort of thing as well.
yeah,
Always like to know it because obviously, we put like sort of the tags and things with the nicknames and
yeah.
it's always good to know. I guess I'm always like to be selfish in the fact that I'm going to ask questions that I want to know.
Mm,
Obviously more for the fact that where the story comes from.
yeah.
Um, Personal trainer obviously is your day-to-day sort of thing. How hard is it to cater for your own training when obviously you have a busy schedule helping other people?
Yeah, look, I don't like. I honestly don't think it is hard. Um, to not like to someone that see, I love what I do, so to me it's not hard. But to be able to do what I do, I need to be very, very disciplined because, like, literally, my morning starts at 5:30, 5 o'clock, probably mostly 5:30. No way do I want to get out of bed at 5, but 5:30, 4 to 6, I get up out of bed. I get up, I do my morning routine, big into my morning routines. Sets me in the right head frame for the day. And I start my mornings then, get a bit of food if I've time, or if I have an early PT client that morning, I might be starting at 6 or half 6. I'll spend my morning time doing my couple of PT sessions. And then what I do then after that is the afternoon time, I'll get my 2 sessions in every day.
Mm-hmm.
Let that be boxing and sprints, or strength conditioning, or long runs, or whatever it is, or technical session, whatever it is. Then in the evening times, then I've got the Transform Ireland group where I train fitness classes then in the evenings. So my day is broken up all throughout the day, and I do my S&C in Dublin, so I travel to Dublin 3 times a week then as well. Um, I have to be very ahead of the ball. I have to have my meals on point, prepped ahead of time. If I'm not training clients or training myself, I'm washing clothes, I'm folding clothes, I'm putting the dishwasher on. That's my best friend. Empty the dishwasher, cooking food. Now I love cooking food, so that does help. Um, yeah. So in my spare time, I'm prepping for the day ahead. But look, like people can say, "Oh, that's a tough life you live," but like at the end of the day, I love what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest, it doesn't last forever. Boxing career is a very short career, so like it's not a it's not a torture. It's not a chore. I love doing what I do, and I know it's not going to last forever. So like, I have no problem doing this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um,
Keeps yourself
because I've
busy.
got my whole life after that. Then when I retire, whatever age that is, to enjoy my life then at a more relaxed speed. Like, yes, my life at the minute is very go 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 go. But I chose that, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with that choice at the minute. So
So looking back sort of on the Alicante, um, probably probably when you think of it when you're coming back and you're sort of thinking, on what you think things can happen. Like, you had a rough, dodgy sort of opponent punching you in the back, and you're
mm,
falling through the ring in the second round. And purposely, I haven't put the clip up so that sort of people can
yeah,
see it.
yeah,
Obviously, if people's been watching the fights and stuff back, they'll see. But it's a sort of a freak sort of thing. But how how obviously were you impressed with obviously how you performed on Saturday night and you know obviously with it not being plain sailing and being a very physical fight, I guess it
yeah.
sort of showed you sort of still have it as well.
Yeah, I don't know, with all the falling and the rugby tackling and all the crack, the Duffy Circus show wouldn't have a look in, But I don't know, like that. You know, to me that fight was a very much. Your man's a very um, he's a lot of experience, and he definitely was one of the most experienced fighters that I've shared a ring with.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching the fight. okay, he was technically terrible, right? That's totally okay. I understand that. But there was so many factors there that I had to take into account. So, like, for example, the fight starts off, you're going through the motion, you're just staying on your toes, you're boxing, you're in and out, you're not putting any power on it. You want to test him, you want to see him where he's at. So I'm doing me 1-2s, I'm doing me jabs, I'm doing me 1-2, trying to get the hook. Right, then the next thing you're trying to draw him in. I got him to come into me once, and I caught him on a counter pretty quick. Next thing, that was it. Every time I tried to get him to come into me again, he wasn't coming at all. He would not come near me. So next thing, like, round one was over, kind of nothing really happened, just going through the motion, feeding each other out, the usual first round. Second round comes in, he decides then that he doesn't throw any single shots. If he comes at me, he comes running at me, throwing these big, massive, swingy haymakers, so that makes me like guard up. And then whenever he got me, he started rugby tackling with me. He started like it was kind of like a grappling fight. But
Mm-hmm.
then like you're not allowed to do that, and the rest meant to pop in, give him a warning, and then give him so many warnings, and give him deduct him a point. But the ref wasn't giving him any warnings at all. And then next thing, the ref stopped me, and he was like, keep your head up, and I was, jeez, here we go now. This is the start of it. I was like, I need to really keep my head here. I was like, I've got this fella getting away with illegal holding. I was like, the ref's looking for reasons just to give me a warning. So next thing, all of a sudden, then I was like, right, I need to just start licking ass to get through the rounds. So I was like, it's not me, it's not me. Whenever he grabbed me, I was like deliberately put my arms out in the air, being like, yep, not me, not me. And then next thing, I don't know what happened, but he started like touching his head as if to say I was hitting him in the back of the head. And
Mm-hmm.
next thing, the ref was like, don't do that again. And I was like, I goes, this is the start of it. I goes, they're looking for anything to deduct me a point. So I started going like, right, just milk the rounds here. So I started being like, I'm sorry this, sorry that. Like pretending like, licking up to them a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and funny, like my dad rang me then the next day. He's like, you need to stop being so nice. You need to just like get over that all and just beat him and just beat him. And I was like, yes, Dad, I know that was the intentions from the beginning, but I was like, they were out for the home corner situation. I was like, there's too many factors going on. So I was like, you know what I'll do is, and I was a heavier man. He was lying on top of me. It was carrying me. Legs were getting heavy. I was like, I hadn't fought in a year and a half or a year and 11 months. I was kind of set. Although my fitness is there, I kind of was like a bit self conscious. Okay, am I going to just completely fatigue in the last round? So
Mm-hmm.
there was definitely that element of ring rust, and um, you definitely call it lack of experience because of the experience out in the ring. So I kind of tried my best to just do enough to win the rounds to get through to the last round without losing a point or getting caught or anything like that. Now coming into the last round, I was like, listen, I think they're robbing Irish fighters over here at the minute. I was like, the fight's too close. Like if it was a neutral corner, neutral ref, all that stuff, I'm doing enough to win the rounds. But I was like, I can't have that happen in the last round.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I got to the last round, I was like, that's it. I'm just going to go guns blazing at this lad now. I know what happened. And I was like, as well, this lad, I was like, my energy is actually spot on. I was like, there's nothing wrong with my energy at all. But like, there was never anything wrong with my energy. That was just me putting that in my own head,
Yep.
like obviously with the nerves and all. So finished strong in the last round. I was happy with the last round. Um, Look, it wasn't a great fight to showcase your ability, but he was like doing all this grappling, trying to wind me up, trying to get me to lose the head to start swinging wildly. Now he threw a very good counter left hook in the first round, and he just missed me. Now there was a lot of power in that shot. I knew if he had caught me now, it would have been it would have been like an Eddie Treacy all over again. But
Yeah, the last thing I want that coming back.
so I knew he had a bit of power, so I was like, this lad's just waiting for that one shot, and I was like, he's trying to rev me up, trying to get me to lose the head here, and then I goes off the ref not on my side as well, and I was like, if I'm not faking in a grappling fight, I'm slipping on the floor. Whenever I slipped on the floor now, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the minute I slipped on the floor, I just started laughing. I goes, what is going to happen next? This is unbelievable. I was like, this is ridiculous, but got through it anyway. Got through the fight. Not particularly proud of it now, but I didn't really get to showcase much. But look, I was very proud that I got the 4 rough rounds in. Like, 3 rounds I was playing with nerves. Last round I kind of just came out of myself, or as Leonard Gooding says, I blossomed it like a nice flower. Oh, I absolutely
You-
busted laugh when he said that yesterday.
I think the
But
only thing that was missing from your fight, obviously you're waiting for, was probably a striker. Somebody coming into the ring or something. It's probably all you're missing
oh,
from the fight.
stop.
You know,
Unbelievable.
um, obviously with locked and everything else like that. Obviously you probably surprised yourself with the fact that your probably weight class moving forward is going to be welterweight.
Is welterweight, yeah. So, back in, yes, I don't know when I said this to you, but um, back in January there, I was about 82 kilo, and look, Frick was just like, look, on, you're well overweight, get the weight down. Um, the goal was just get down near welter, light middleweight, which is 69.7. He says, look, just forget about these big water cuts. Just walk around 1-2 kilo off your weight. And I said, yeah, no problem. So got down to 71 kilo pretty quick, and like the weight flew off me. I wasn't starving myself or nothing. Got down to 71 pretty quick, and then I have a nutritionist on board every time to hold me accountable. Although, like, I find I am quite disciplined, anyways. But we do all love our food now. But it was nice to have him on board. So when I got down to that 71, the body fat, I got the body fat checked and on. The body fat was still quite high. I still had plenty of fat to lose to get down. And the nutritionist was like, Owen, you could make welterweight no problem. You could make this without having to do a big massive cut. So
Mm-hmm.
I would chat with Frick with it, and Frick was like, look, he goes, you still have like 8 to 10 weeks from the fight. Why don't we just try make well? Let's go for near the welterweight division fight.
Mm-hmm.
See what the weight's like. See then on the day how the energy's like. Does it affect you? Does that big drop have an effect on you long term with the energy?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was another factor then when I was in the fight that might have been playing in my head to milk the rounds till the last round. Um, but like felt absolutely amazing. Felt absolutely amazing. Best shape of my life. Boxing's improved. Um, now I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna do what some boxers do and blow up after this fight. Like my goal is just to maintain that couple of kilo off that welterweight division
Mm-hmm.
all year round. I just want to be fight ready. I'm not taking any control of when my next fight is. I'm just going to leave that to the boys. I have full trust in Frick and the Boxing Iron lads to look after that side of things for me, to give me the fight when I'm ready for the fight. So all I can do is focus on my boxing, my weight management, my nutrition, and my fitness levels.
You can leave the
So
rest of them. You sort of had a bit of time, I think, during the pandemic as well. You were sort of training with Pete Taylor.
yeah, like Pete Taylor's an amazing coach. Like thank God, like thank you to Stevie Collins Jr. Like after the fight with Eddie, I definitely needed to find a full time coach, and not even that, but I just needed to focus on my boxing, go back to the basics, work on footwork and stuff, and um, teaming back up with Frick, back home, and then with Stevie Collins being a good friend of Stevie's, between the pair of boys, they got me in with Pete for like a trial spar,
Mm-hmm.
and Pete liked what he seen, and he was willing to take me on board for a while to train with the lads. So I was very grateful to get up there for the time that I was. I think I was over there a year.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a lot. Learned a lot. But just obviously whenever mom got sick and then shortly passed away. My little brother living at home on his own. Like we were talking earlier on, it's just the memories,
Mm-hmm.
the birthdays, the little things. So I was like, I wouldn't have been able to live comfortably in Dublin knowing that my little brother was in a house full of memories.
Mm-hmm.
So, I decided to move home full time. Um, got, that's where I ended up training with Frick full time then.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's where it's been going ever since. It's going really well.
And as we were sort of talking, as we're talking off sort of cameras, sort of before the start, I know why we keep saying those things and stuff happen for a reason.
Yeah,
Everything sort of got you to this point, and like obviously, no words can sort of bring your mum back and things like that. But have you found sort of sense that you've probably been able to reinvigorate yourself probably a bit more and sort of give yourself a bit more purpose on what you want to do and what you want to achieve? Is it sort of, or is it still sort of too early for you yet to think what I'm going to do?
um, what you asked me regarding my mom's passing, like how do I
Yeah, I
deal
mean,
with it?
obviously,
Oh,
obviously, I say I've lost my own mum as well, and sometimes
yeah,
it's the whole pride thing and things like that. It's like
yeah.
being the best you can, and obviously memories and stuff like that. So, is it sort of getting there where you're going right? Let's kick myself in the gear. Let's get the boxing back on track. And
Yeah. Well, no, I definitely like my mom would have been like along with the rest of my family being my biggest supporters. Like,
mm,
my mom would have dedicated her whole life to. If you had asked her, like she would have said that her key value, her only value is our kids, that they live possibly the best lives, and that she can provide us the best opportunity of the best lives that we can live.
mm,
So, like when mom passed initially, I was like, you know what? The worst thing I can do is do what, feel sorry for myself and maybe go drinking or whatever it is, like feeling
mm,
sorry for myself and getting down and going backwards in steps. I was like, my mom's after dedicating her whole life to us to give us this amazing life that she's given us to date.
mm,
And I was like, I want to make her proud. So, like, I think literally it was 2 days. I think it was the next day after my mom's burial, the funeral. I was like, so funny. I brought my little brother. My little brother doesn't do any training. If
mm.
anything, he trains at the pub, like. And it was the day after the funeral. He woke up absolutely dying from the whiskey, and I was like, big sunny day outside. I says, James goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" He says, Do you want to roll down the shop?" I said, "No, I don't want to roll, James, the shop." I said, "I'm going up to the track to do a few sprints." And he turned round to me. He must be still on the drink because he was like, "You know what? I'm going to join you." I was like, I haven't seen this lad train in like 2 years. He's like, "Yep, I'm going to join you. I'm going to join you." I was like, it's like 20 something degrees and say, "Right, come on ahead, put on your shorts there." Like, it's this bad that he doesn't even have shorts. He's like, "Oh, I can borrow a pair of shorts." I was like, "Come on in."
The
Up
notion was in
there
his
doing,
head.
up there doing sprints, and he puked his ring out after four of them. That was so funny. But no, like, I definitely think that you need to let it be talk to someone professionally or something. I think our own worst enemy is our own head. Like,
Mm,
we can have so many arguments and create so many scenarios in our head that never have, like 90% of the time, never happen.
mm,
So I was like, it was, like I'm very blessed that I've got some really good friends that are really good listeners and really good at giving advice. Um, I definitely did went and got professional help as well. I just like as stubborn and as independent as I can be.
mm,
I was like, I'm definitely not going to be living with this hidden away, thinking that I can live without addressing it. So I definitely feel like I had to come to terms with my emotions of it all first before I could even go back boxing because like the first fight without my mom as well, like there's a lot of emotions going on there. But
mm.
I knew if I wanted to go back boxing or do anything in life, like full content, happy, I needed to get that looked at.
Yep.
Um, look, I'm full believer in that there is a higher power above. Now let it be like Catholic, Protestants, Muslims, whatever. In
Mm.
my opinion, I just think they're all just different versions of the same
Same
power.
thing. Yep.
Do you know? I do believe there is something up there, and regardless what religion you're into, like believe in it. If that's your full intentions, just believe in it. Go for it.
Yep.
Um, I fully believe that when we pass away, it's our physical body. The physical body has left us, but the spirit never does. Do you know?
Mm.
So I fully believe that my mom's always with me. Um, I definitely believe she was with me in Alicante. You know,
Mm.
um, and look, all we can do is make her proud and make her happy for the kids that she grew up, you know.
Exactly. She was the one that gave you permission to start the boxing, so you know you have to keep going until you get there. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Oh, so funny. That's
Um,
such a funny story.
it is. So obviously now you're back. You know, like I was sort of thinking there, the period where you had your first 6 fights was over a 16-month period. You then
Yeah,
had like 23 months out of the ring, so you're probably
yeah.
inactive more than you'd actually fought. So it's a sort of plan to sort of stay as busy as obviously boxing Ireland can give you the opponents.
Yeah. No, like, look, listen, like I was saying there, I was like, I want to put my full intentions in the boys to look after the business side of things, the fight time. What's the next move? You know, obviously, I'm going to be taking part in the decision of it, but I want to leave the power in their hands. I have full trust in Freak Me Coach and the boys at Boxing and Promotions.
Yes.
But all I can do is stay fight ready. The last thing I want to do is a fight opportunity arises at welterweight. Next thing I'm like, oh, I can't take it because I'm too chubby or I'm too overweight because I've been picking out and haven't been training. So
Mm.
I'm going to focus on my training, focus on my fitness, keep ready, keep improving because you can never stop learning. Just keep improving. Now, I did hear that we were talking about this before the Belfast show, October 2nd. Like, if the boys offered me that today, I will jump on that because, like, if anything, the Belfast card suits me better than the Dublin card. Like, I've got my little sister and all her friends that live up in Belfast. My dad over in England, he's after getting news of it, and he has a big gang of lads from the UK all going to fly over to Belfast if it's going ahead. They're actually asking for tickets now. I put up the thing about the Fela, about the Michael Conlan Fela thing, and my dad rings me. He says, "Oh, give me load of tickets for that fight, kid." I was like, "What fight?" "Oh, the fight in August, kid." I said, "No, Dad, that's not my fight. That's a different fight, kid." But it's in Belfast. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, but it's not my card." Oh, stop. So, like, there's a big crew
He's
of
just
lads in Belf.
he's got the
Sorry.
buzz with it. Obviously
Yeah.
missing Alicante as well, and you know,
Unreal.
it's just got the buzz to get there. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully, as I say, we'd love to obviously have you in Celtic Clash 12 as well, and
Yeah.
you know, if there's anything we can sort of do to Stephen or Leonard to make sure that they sort of put more of a spin on you, then that's what has to happen. You know,
Yeah.
um, obviously, as we do get to the end of every interview, we always like to give obviously an opportunity to thank sponsors. You know, like when you fought in Alicante, it's probably more expensive than any fight's been so far in your
Yeah.
probably career. Um, obviously, I like to sort of plan sort of in advance with obviously sponsors because you don't want to leave anybody out. But the floor is yours, and you can sort of think who you need to thank.
Right, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm whipping out the phone here because I've I'm a big line of sponsors to thank here, and I'm not gonna miss one of them. Um, I'm so blessed with them all that came on board to help me make this fight happen. Um, so my two very long time sponsors that's helped me from the very beginning of my career, Kieran McConnell Car Sales and LadyJoker.com. And then I want to thank my local sponsors who all jumped on board last minute. Like, I got that fight news in Alicante, I think with 4 weeks' notice, and with the large expenses involved with getting the flights, accommodation, covering your opponent. Like, I didn't, and I wasn't working. Like, it wasn't even a case that I could cover it myself, you know. So pretty much everyone that went to locally all jumped on board, helped me out. So I've got Ben Troy Music, I've got Awesome Coffee in Carrickmacross, I've got McNally's Service Station in Shercook, I've got Row Oils Limited in Shercook, I've got McAvoy Pharmacy with Aidan McAvoy in Shercook, I've got Thomas White Media, I've got Joe O'Brien with Joe O'Brien's Contracts, I've got David Daly with D&D Constructions, I've got Michael Higgins with MH Bricklaying and Building Services. I've got Liam Duffy with Classic Spring Mineral Water. I've got Lawrence Keenan with Keenan's Petrol Station. I've got Ingretti at Co Ltd. I've got Derek Eakin, Cooperative Wear. I've got Paul Boylan, a local gardener landscaper. I've got my local Sherco Credit Union. I've got Mick Phillips, my uncle Philip and Sean, and the Lynch family that all personally helped me out as well. So I want to just give them a massive thank you for making the return, the well overdue return to the ring happen. And I want to just say a massive thanks to all the support that I got on the day. I was I was definitely the emotions hit me a bit on Saturday. Now I was quite overwhelmed with all the support that I was seeing from back home after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wait to get home and see them all. So I just want to say thanks to all of them.
Definitely. And I could sort of, I'm sure obviously sort of some other boxers will sort of look at it sometimes and hear the amount, it doesn't expect to obviously hear so many sponsors, but I guess sometimes it shows the person you are and everything you do, that so many people get involved. And I'm
Mm.
sure, if any other sponsors are out there and they're sort of looking to get behind the butcher,
Yeah.
that they'll jump on board and, hopefully, as I sort of I think I made a joke to somebody yesterday, the day before, you want to have that many sponsors, you have to wear tracksuit bottoms to the ring.
I know, I know. It was unbelievable the support I had, and like, um, thank God they didn't all ask to be on the T-shirt because, um, I would have been paid €60 for a T-shirt. But
You'd probably have to wear probably one that's like a quadruple XL or something like that, just to get them all on.
or just get a. You know what I should have got actually? I should have got a cabin flag with all the sponsors on. Just think of that now. That's what I'll do next time.
Yeah, that's something for the future. But
Yeah,
look, Owen, obviously, it's taken us a few days to get this prepared and get it sorted.
yeah,
But obviously, want to thank you for obviously jumping on and sort of
no
sharing
problem at all.
things. Obviously, we've sort of learned more of each other, and obviously in life and everything else. So I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll not be too long till we get another interview, and
The
hopefully,
first of
fingers
many, the
crossed.
first of many, Stephen. First of
3
many,
months
lad.
tomorrow, you'll be in Belfast for
Yeah.
Celtic Class
Well,
12.
hopefully, I'll just have to wait for the call of the boys now to give me that opportunity. But I'll be all over that now. But
Definitely.
come here. Did we break Leonard Gooding's record? 47 minutes. Did we break that?
I think we broke the 47 minutes for this one, but it would
Go
take.
on, the
I think it would
boys.
take some talking to beat his record of like 2.5 hours.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't know what I'd talk about for 2.5 hours now. There's only so
No,
many
definitely.
flowers, warm flowers I can talk about.
I'm actually scared to watch that interview of Leonard back because
Yeah,
I'm not sure I even know what we talked about. Like
the
I
better the
didn't
people
even
that
check
text
it to
me.
see what we spoke of. I just put
Uh,
it up. You know.
I got text from like my little sister, man and Brian, one of my best friends. A load of people. Like I think I had about 7 or 8 people text me. Oh, and send me the video link. Oh, go to minute 37 there. You blossom like a flower. I was just like, yeah, leave me alone. They're like, did you see this? Go to minute 27 or 37. You blossom like a flower. I was just like, go away.
Leonard's such a way with words.
Oh, he's a good man, Leonard. You just absolutely don't be in a hole there.
I'll have him on again next week. I think we have a
Right.
we have a wee announcement. I think it's coming next week with
Yeah.
Boxing Ireland. So I'll have him on next week again. So obviously I have to quiz him on obviously the blossom like a flower, and you I'm sure we'll get another laugh about it again. But I don't
Yeah,
want to have too much to speak with him on because he'll look to break his record from the
aye,
Luxembourg review card.
aye.
So have to keep it to a minimum with him. But look,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
let you go and enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. We'll
I
obviously
same to
have
you,
this
Steve.
uploaded
Thanks for
tomorrow
that.
morning. So obviously it'll be
Right,
something for
so
everybody to watch on Saturday morning.
yeah,
I'm sure we'll
deadly.
catch up again soon on.
100%. No, thank you for having me, lad.
All right, cheers on. Take
All right, we
care.
chat soon, lad. Bye bye.
Cheers,
Bye
take
bye.
care. Thanks. Bye bye. Bye bye.